There are seasons in life when everything seems fine on the surface. You're working, smiling, living. And yet, deep within, something feels missing. It's not pain. It's not depression. It's more like a quiet disconnection, as if you've drifted away from something essential, something that once made life feel vivid and meaningful. You're not broken. You're simply distant from your soul, and you didn't even realize when it went silent. Carl Jung called this the moment the soul is lost, not because it disappeared, but because we abandoned it while trying to become someone. In today's world, we wear roles like masks: the good child, the achiever, the strong one, the kind one. And the more masks we wear, the deeper the soul retreats into the shadows, waiting quietly for us to return. Jung once said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." The soul is not found in the external light, but in the places we were taught to avoid, the grief we never faced, the softness we called weakness, the desires we deemed irrational. To find your soul, you don't rise above. You descend into the unconscious, into the forgotten dreams, the dismissed instincts, the parts of yourself you learned to hide, to be accepted. Down there, you will meet all the fragments you once left behind, the parts your culture rejected, your family disapproved of, your teachers ignored, and you silenced in order to grow up. But the soul doesn't grow by killing the child within. It grows by embracing it, by hearing its cries, by honoring its fears, by protecting its wonder. Jung called this the process of individuation, the journey of becoming the one and only person you were born to be. Not a copy, not a persona, but a whole human being. Your soul doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs you to be real. And to be real, you must be brave. Because real means shedding the mask. And the mask is where you've lived your entire life. When you begin the journey to recover your soul, things around you may fall apart. Relationships might crack. Your job might feel empty. The old life may feel too tight. But that's not the end. It's the beginning of rebirth. Because to find your soul, you must be willing to let the false version of you die. Death is not the end of life. It's the end of illusion. And when the illusions collapse, what remains is your true essence. You, unfiltered, unscripted, and unafraid. And you will begin to live again. Not as someone trying to be better, but as someone finally coming home. Someone who knows pain is real, but fear is no longer the master. Someone who knows that darkness is not the enemy. It's the doorway. Someone who stops chasing the light out there and starts lighting the fire within. This is how you find your soul, not by escaping, but by returning and sitting quietly beside yourself. Finding your soul isn't a climb into the light. It's a descent into the dark. Jung called it the encounter with the shadow. All the parts of you you've refused to look at. The feelings you judged, the desires you silenced, the thoughts you buried in shame. The shadow is not evil. It's just honest and forgotten. When you avoid it, it takes control from behind the curtain. You get angry without knowing why. You project, you envy, you criticize others for expressing what you deny in yourself. Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." The shadow doesn't harm you, your rejection of it does. Real healing begins when you stop waging war against the parts of you were told to hate. When you can sit with your anger, your jealousy, your grief, not to suppress them, but to understand them. Because the soul doesn't live in who you pretend to be. It lives in your rawness, in your truth, in your full humanity. To love yourself is not to cover wounds with positivity. It is to clean the dust of old pain from the heart, to let go of outdated expectations, to forgive every version of you that didn't know better, to sit beside yourself, not to fix, but to finally listen. And when you step into the shadow, you're not alone. Your soul never left. It's been waiting, not in anger, but in silence. Always ready when you're brave enough to knock. And when you do, when you truly meet your soul again, you'll stop pretending to be strong. You'll realize vulnerability doesn't make you weak. It makes you real. You'll stop begging to be seen. Stop performing for love. Stop abandoning truth just to be accepted. Because now, you belong to yourself. And that is enough. That's when life begins to feel full. Not because everything is perfect, but because you are no longer missing from your own life. You'll no longer scream to be heard, because you've remembered how to hear your own voice. You'll no longer chase applause, because you've learned to stand still in silence and feel whole. The journey to find the soul leads nowhere new. It leads you home to every part of you abandoned, your light, your shadow, your tenderness, your fear, your presence, all of it together, not fighting, just coexisting, just being. And this beingness doesn't come from meditation techniques, it comes from radical honesty. It comes from saying no to what no longer feels like you, from walking away from relationships that made you feel small, from releasing the need to be fine all the time, and allowing yourself to be contradictory, uncertain, raw, and still enough. The soul never asked you for perfection, only truth. And when you return with truth, you'll find the dark isn't what you feared. It was just lonely, because you left. But now, you've come back, not to fix it, but to feel it, not to erase it, but to embrace it. And in that quiet moment, without thunder, without spotlight, your soul will smile. And that is enough. You've found yourself. And as you stand there, soul in hand, shadow no longer feared, you realize something you never saw before. The journey was never about becoming something greater. It was always about becoming something truer. You weren't meant to rise above your humanness. You were meant to root deeper into it, into the messy, contradictory, glorious reality of being a soul in a fragile, feeling body. This is what wholeness means. Not perfection, not enlightenment. Wholeness means holding your joy and your pain in the same breath. It means allowing yourself to be both light and dark, both wild and still, both broken and whole, not one after the other, but at the same time. And when you live like that, you no longer search for meaning. You become it. Every scar becomes a symbol. Every silence becomes a sanctuary. Every piece of you, even the ones you once rejected, becomes sacred. You don't need a new life. You just need to return to the one that was always yours. On the life where you are not chasing yourself, but finally walking beside yourself. And so you exhale. For the first time, in what feels like forever, your breath is your own. And this time, you don't run. You stay. With yourself, with your soul, with the sacred mess of being here, now, alive.